Gentlemen, there's one spot on a woman's body that reveals everything she's really feeling. And the moment she lets you touch it, her mind and heart are already yours. And I'm not talking about some cheap pickup line or alpha male nonsense. Stick with me because what I'm about to reveal will completely change the way you read every single female signal forever. Welcome back. I want you to slow down for a second and really take this in. Because what we're talking about today isn't surface level attraction. It's not about tricks, lines, or memorized behaviors. It's about something much deeper, how a woman's body communicates what her words often can't. And before we go any further, I want you to really check in with yourself for a moment. Have you ever sat across from someone and felt like something was there, but you couldn't quite explain it? Or maybe you've been in a situation where everything seemed right on the surface, the conversation flowed, there was laughter, eye contact, and yet something felt slightly off underneath it all. That quiet confusion, that subtle uncertainty, it stays with you, doesn't it? You replay moments in your head, wondering what you missed, wondering if you imagined it, wondering if you were closer than you thought or further away than you realized. My name is Lauren Garcia, and I'm the host of the Lauren Psychology Diary YouTube channel. And today, I want to take you into a layer of human connection that most people never learn to see clearly. Not because it's hidden, but because no one ever taught you how to look. There's a silent language happening in every interaction you have with a woman, and most men are completely blind to it. Not because they're incapable, but because they've been trained to focus on the wrong things. Words, lines, outcomes. Instead of what actually matters, emotional signals expressed through the body. Now let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever walked away from an interaction and thought, I think she liked me, but I'm not sure? Or maybe the opposite. She was polite, maybe even warm, but something didn't sit right. That feeling, that uncertainty, it doesn't come from a lack of effort. It comes from misreading signals that were right in front of you the entire time. And once you begin to understand this, you won't just feel more confident. You'll feel more grounded, more present, less confused. Because here's the truth that most people don't say out loud. Attraction is rarely spoken clearly, but it is always expressed physically. And no, not in the exaggerated ways you might be imagining. Not in obvious flirting or dramatic gestures. It's subtle, it's instinctive, it lives beneath awareness. A woman's body is constantly responding to how she feels in your presence. And those responses, they are far more honest than anything she could say out loud. Think about that for a moment, because words can be polite, words can be filtered, words can be shaped by social expectations. But the body reacts in real time. It doesn't negotiate, it doesn't pretend. And this is where everything begins to shift. When a woman allows certain types of touch, she's not just being nice. She's not just going along with it. Her nervous system is making rapid decisions. It's asking questions like, do I feel safe with him? Do I trust him? Does his presence calm me? Or does it create tension? And the answers to those questions show up instantly through her body. This is why two men can do the exact same thing. Reach for her hand, touch her shoulder, stand close, and get completely different reactions. One feels natural, easy, welcome. The other feels uncomfortable, forced, even slightly repelling. And the difference is not the action, it's the emotional experience behind it. And this is where most men get it wrong. They focus on what to do, instead of understanding what she feels. Let me bring this to life for you with a simple, real-world moment. Imagine you're sitting next to a woman at a cafe, the conversation is flowing, there's a lightness between you, maybe even a little playfulness. At some point, you lightly touch her arm while making a point. Now pause right there. Because what happens next is everything. Does she lean in slightly? Does she stay relaxed and continue talking naturally? Does her body remain open? Or does she stiffen, even just a little? Does she subtly shift her body away? Does the energy change even if she keeps smiling? Most men miss this moment completely, but this moment is the truth. Because her reaction isn't calculated, it's instinctive, and instinct doesn't lie. What's happening here is deeply rooted in psychology and biology. Human beings are wired to detect intention through touch. Research has shown that people can recognize emotions like warmth, tension, discomfort, even dominance through physical contact alone. And women in particular are incredibly attuned to this, not because they're overthinking, but because their nervous system is constantly scanning for emotional safety. This isn't something she consciously analyzes, it just happens. So when you touch her, she's not just feeling the physical sensation, she's reading you, your energy, your confidence, your emotional state, your authenticity. If you're tense, she feels that. If you're trying too hard, she feels that. If you're calm, grounded, and present, she feels that too. And this is why attraction is not something you can fake, it's felt. Now I want to take you a little deeper into something I call emotional zones, because this is where things begin to make real sense. Instead of thinking about the body as just physical space, I want you to think of it as layers of trust. Each area represents a different level of emotional access. The first level is what I call neutral territory. Arms, shoulders. This is where most interactions begin, and interestingly, it's also where many men get stuck. A light touch on the arm, a casual tap on the shoulder. These are socially acceptable gestures. They don't carry much emotional weight on their own. If she allows this, it doesn't automatically mean attraction. It simply means she's comfortable enough not to pull away. But even here, there's valuable information. Is her posture open or slightly closed? Does she angle her body toward you or away from you? Does she maintain eye contact or does she start to disengage? These micro signals, they matter more than anything you could say. Because at this stage, she's not deciding if she wants you. She's deciding if she feels okay around you. Now we move slightly deeper, hands and wrists. And this is where something shifts. Holding hands isn't just physical contact, it's symbolic. It represents connection, presence, a shared moment. When a woman allows you to hold her hand, even briefly, she's offering a level of emotional openness. But the wrist, that's where it becomes more intimate. The wrist is sensitive, it's vulnerable. It's not a place people casually allow access to unless there's already a degree of comfort. So if she remains relaxed when you touch her wrist, if she doesn't pull away, if she even subtly responds, that's a sign her guard is beginning to lower. Not completely, but noticeably. And I want you to really understand something here. This is not about moving quickly from one level to the next. It's about whether she is inviting you forward. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, how do I know if I'm reading this correctly? That's a fair question. So let me give you something simple and powerful. Because when it's right, it doesn't feel like progression. It feels natural. There's a rhythm to it, a flow. And when you're in sync with that flow, everything becomes effortless. The next time you're interacting with a woman, shift your focus. Instead of concentrating on what to say next, pay attention to how she responds physically, not obsessively, but calmly. Awareness, not anxiety. Notice her breathing, notice her posture, notice how her body reacts when you move slightly closer or make light contact. Does she mirror you? Does she relax, or does she create distance? These are your answers, not her words, her body. And once you start paying attention to this, something interesting happens. You stop needing constant validation. You stop guessing. You begin to know. And that quiet certainty is incredibly attractive. Now, we're about to go deeper into levels that most men completely misunderstand, especially when it comes to the waist, the back, and eventually the most revealing signal of all. Because there is one area, one specific place, where if she allows you in, it's no longer just comfort, it's something much more powerful. And in the next part, I'm going to break that down. But before we go there, take a second. If something in this is already shifting how you see things, go ahead and like this video. Not just for the algorithm, but because it tells me you're ready for deeper conversations. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that now, because what's coming next is where everything truly starts to click. Now let's go deeper, because this is where things begin to separate surface-level interaction from real emotional movement. We're stepping into a space that most men completely misinterpret, not because they're careless, but because they've been taught to see attraction as something linear. Step 1, step 2, step 3, almost like a formula. But attraction doesn't work like that. It's layered. It's emotional. And most importantly, it's instinctive. So let's talk about the waist and the lower back. This is what I call the instinctive test zone. And it matters far more than most people realize. Here's why. This is one of the first areas where a woman cannot fully see your movement when you initiate touch. When your hand lightly rests on her lower back, her reaction happens before her mind has time to analyze it. If she stiffens, even slightly, if she shifts her body away, that's not rejection in the harsh way most men interpret it. It's information. Her nervous system is simply saying, not yet. But if she stays relaxed, if she leans slightly into you, if her body doesn't resist that proximity, that's something entirely different. That's trust beginning to form on a deeper level. And I want you to notice something very important here. This has nothing to do with dominance, nothing to do with control, everything to do with how your presence feels when you enter her space. Because there is a difference, and women feel it instantly. A man who is grounded, calm, emotionally present can place his hand on a woman's lower back, and it feels natural, comforting even. But a man who is uncertain, trying to impress or seeking validation, can do the exact same thing, and it feels invasive, same action, completely different emotional impact. With the first man, she felt handled. With the other, she felt safe. That difference is everything. Now let's move even deeper, because this next level is where things become very clear. The neck and the face. Make no mistake. This is sacred territory. Biologically, the neck is one of the most vulnerable areas of the human body. It protects your pulse, your breath, your life. So if a woman allows you to touch her face, to gently brush something away, to hold her there, even briefly, you are no longer in a casual interaction. You are in emotional proximity. But here's the nuance. It's not just about whether the touch happens. It's about how she receives it. Does she soften? Does the moment slow down, even slightly? Or does she pull back, even just a little, because her body tells the truth? But here's the nuance. It's not just about whether the touch happens. It's about how she receives it. Does she soften? Does the moment slow down? Because her body tells the truth before her words ever will. A woman doesn't open up like this because of what you do. She opens up because of how she feels around you. It's not technique, it's presence. Think about the last time you felt genuinely connected to someone. Not just attracted, but comfortable, seen, at ease. What created that feeling? Was it something they said, or how you felt in their presence? That sense of ease, of not needing to perform, of being able to just exist without tension, that is exactly what a woman is searching for. And when she finds that, she moves toward it, naturally, effortlessly. The next time you're with a woman, shift your focus inward, ground yourself, slow your breathing, relax your shoulders, be fully present in the moment instead of thinking 3 steps ahead. And then observe, not her words, her energy. Because something very real happens when you regulate your own nervous system. You influence hers. Calm creates calm. Presence creates safety. Presence creates safety. And safety is the foundation of attraction that actually lasts. If this is starting to click for you, take a second and drop a comment below. Something like, I get it now. Now, we're about to move into the final level, the one that reveals more than words, more than actions. There is one area, one specific place that acts like a truth detector. And when a woman allows this, it's something deeper. Now, we're about to move into the final level, the one that reveals more than words, more than actions. There is one area, one specific place that acts like a truth detector. And when a woman allows this, it's something deeper. Hair isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's symbolic. For many women, their hair is deeply tied to identity, femininity, self-expression, even control. It's something she adjusts when she's nervous, something she protects. Hair isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's symbolic. For many women, their hair is deeply tied to identity, femininity, self-expression, even control. It's something she adjusts when she's nervous, something she protects. If your hand moves gently, naturally, and she leans into it, if her head tilts slightly without thinking, that is not politeness. That is a full-body response. That is emotional safety and physical comfort happening at the same time. If your hand moves gently, naturally, and she leans into it, if her head tilts slightly without thinking, that is not politeness. That is a full-body response. That is emotional safety and physical comfort happening at the same time. And I want you to be very clear about something here. This is not a move. It is not something you try to make happen, because the moment it becomes forced, it loses everything that makes it real. And she will feel that instantly. Women don't just feel the touch, they feel the intention behind it. So if that intention is impatience or trying to get somewhere, her body will close off just as quickly as it opened. But when it happens naturally, trust is present. When your presence feels grounded and safe, this moment doesn't feel like escalation. It feels like a continuation. And that is the difference between attraction that flows and attraction that collapses. Let me share something that captures this beautifully. A woman once described a moment during a quiet evening walk. There was no big setup, no dramatic flirting, just conversation, laughter, and ease. The man she was with gently moved a strand of hair aside. What stood out wasn't what he did. It was how it felt. She said it felt natural, like he was already close to me, even before he touched me. That's what I want you to understand. When a woman responds positively, multiple systems in her brain are aligning at once. Her emotional brain feels safe. Her instinctive brain detects no threat. Her relational mind feels connection. That "I don't know why" is subconscious clarity. How does she feel in my presence right now? Because that question will guide everything. If the answer is relaxed, open, at ease, you're already moving in the right direction. But if the answer is tense, no technique will override that. And this is where emotional intelligence becomes your greatest advantage. Pay attention, not in a hyper-analytical way, but in a grounded, aware way. Feel the interaction. Don't just perform it. Let moments breathe. Allow silence. What if the goal was never to win her over? What if the goal was to create a space where she naturally wants to move closer? What if instead of chasing signals, you became someone who understands them and responds in a way that feels right? If this is opening your perspective even a little, go ahead and like the video, and I'd love to hear from you. What's one moment where someone's presence made you feel instantly comfortable? Drop it in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't. Now, let's bring everything together, because this is where the real shift happens. Up until now, we've talked about signals, touch, emotional zones. But if you only take this as a way to read her better, you're still missing the deeper transformation. Because this was never just about her. It's about you. It's about the kind of emotional experience you create when someone is around you. You cannot create safety in someone else if you don't feel grounded within yourself. Up until now, we've talked about signals, touch, emotional zones. But if you only take this as a way to read her better, you're still missing the deeper transformation. Because this was never just about her. It's about you. It's about the kind of emotional experience you create when someone is around you. You cannot create safety in someone else if you don't feel grounded within yourself. So instead of asking, "What should I do next?" I want you to start asking something far more powerful. Who am I being in this moment? Are you present, or are you in your head trying to figure things out? Are you relaxed, or are you subtly tense, waiting for a reaction? Are you genuinely curious about her? Or are you focused on how you're being perceived? Because these internal states, they don't stay internal. There's a man who walks into a date already thinking, "I hope she likes me." And there's another man who walks in thinking, "Let's see how we feel around each other." Do you feel the difference? One is seeking approval, the other is open to connection. One is tense, the other is grounded. And that difference changes everything. When you stop trying to be chosen, you start creating space for something genuine. Now I want to take you into a small but powerful exercise. The next time you're with a woman, or honestly, with anyone, I want you to slow yourself down, not in an obvious way, internally. Soften your breathing, let your shoulders drop, feel your feet grounded where you are, and instead of thinking about what to say next, just listen. Not just to her words, but to the pauses between them. Notice her tone, her body language, and at the same time, stay aware of yourself. Are you rushing? Are you holding tension? Are you trying to impress? Or are you simply there? Because when you reach that state, you become easy to be around. And that is rare. More rare than confidence, more rare than charm. Because most people are not present. They're performing. I want you to understand that attraction is not something you chase. It's something that emerges. When two nervous systems feel safe enough to open, that's it. No tricks, no shortcuts, just emotional alignment. And when that alignment is there, touch becomes natural. Eye contact becomes effortless. Silence becomes comfortable. And those small moments we talked about, they begin to happen on their own. Most advice out there is about control, about strategy. But real connection doesn't work like that. It's not something you take. It's something that's given when it feels right. You start allowing them to unfold. Every interaction you have is a conversation beyond words. Every look, every pause, every shift in energy, every small moment of contact. It's all saying something. The question is, are you paying attention? So the next time you find yourself wondering, does she like me? I want you to pause and ask a better question. How does she feel when she's with me? Because the answer to that is already being shown to you. If this conversation shifted something in you, take a second to like the video. Share this with someone who overthinks attraction. And if you're ready to keep exploring this, make sure you subscribe. And always remember this, touch is not about control. It's not about strategy. It's a conversation, one that happens without words. And when you learn to listen to that conversation, you stop trying to be someone you're not. And always remember this. Touch is not about control. It's not about strategy. It's a conversation, one that happens without words. And when you learn to listen to that conversation, you stop trying to be someone you're not. Because in the end, this was never about getting closer to her body. It was about becoming someone she feels safe getting closer to.